A sign was fastened above him with these words, "This is the King of the Jews." Luke 23:38 from the New Living Translation. On Monday, we left off with Jesus returning to his sleeping disciples. We pick up in Luke 22:47 and 48. But even as Jesus woke up his disciples, a crowd approached, led by Judas, one of the 12 disciples. Judas walked over to Jesus to greet him with a kiss. But Jesus said, "Judas, would you betray the Son of Man with a kiss?" Jesus is arrested and taken to the home of the high priest. Then, at daybreak, all the elders of the people assembled, including the leading priests and the teachers of the religious law. Jesus was led before the high council, and they said, "Tell us, are you the Messiah?" But he replied, "If I tell you, you won't believe me. And if I ask you a question, you won't answer. But from now on, the Son of Man will be seated in the place of power at God's right hand." They all shouted, "So are you claiming to be the Son of God?" And he replied, "You say that I am." "Why do we need other witnesses?" they said. "We ourselves heard him say it." Luke 22, verses 66 to 71. Jesus is taken to Pilate, who deflects to Herod Antipas, who sends him back to Pilate. We pick back up in Luke 23:14 with Pilate speaking. "You brought this man to me, accusing him of leading a revolt. I have examined him thoroughly on this point in your presence and find him innocent. Herod came to the same conclusion and sent him back to us. Nothing this man has done calls for the death penalty. Nothing this man has done calls for death." Regardless, they kept shouting, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" Luke 23:21. Pilate gives in and turns Jesus over to them. As Jesus makes his way to Calvary, Simon from Cyrene helps carry the cross. Jesus turns to the wailing women and crowd following and comforts them with words of truth. On the hill, Jesus is nailed to a cross, flanked by criminals. Here he speaks. Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they are doing." Luke 23:34. Mocking continues, but Jesus acknowledges another's repentance and assures him that he will be with him in paradise soon. Around noon, darkness fell across the whole land. The light from the sun was gone. The light from the sun was gone. And suddenly, the curtain in the sanctuary of the temple was torn down the middle. Then Jesus shouted, "Father, I entrust my spirit into your hands." And with those words, he breathed his last. When the Roman officer overseeing the execution saw what had happened, he worshipped God and said, "Surely this man was righteous." These words are from verses 44 to 47. Joseph from Arimathea was given permission to lay Jesus' body in a nearby tomb. Luke 23:55 reads, "As his body was taken away, the women from Galilee followed and saw the tomb where his body was placed. Then they went home." The son was dead. A dead end had never stopped God before. But this, the Son of Man, the Messiah, had just died before their very eyes. It was the death of their expectations and hope. It was the death of their friend. It was the death of their rabbi and teacher. It was the death of God. And then there was silence.